Alright, what's up gamers? Episode 4 of 4 Gamers Only is officially underway. I'm Glenn Gordon, the host for this episode of 4GO, and with me is the 4GO crew, including Garri Bagdasarov. What's up, man?
Hey, how's it going?
Not too bad. I went to work today, so I'm excited.
You what?
I went to work today.
Oh, I thought you said you walked to work. I'm like, that's nice.
No, I went to work. I'm just happy that I went. I'm still seasonal after I graduated, so it's hard for me to get hours. But I went to work today, so that was good. Played anything interesting? Are you playing Final Fantasy during the podcast again?
No, I'm playing Dying Light, but I'm trying to get to an auto save so I can quit.
Okay.
Because there's annual save in this game.
Right.
It's irritating.
Ben? We've got Ben Sterling himself
Hello.
Here. How are you, Ben?
I'm not too bad, a little tired, but I'm pretty good.
You have something coming up in London that you may or may not be going to.
Yeah, hopefully I shall be going to an event in London. It's Tecmo Koei's doing a press event for the new Bladestorm Dynasty Warriors game and Tokuden game.
Right, but there was a situation with the trains and now it's hard, so...
Yeah, I'm probably going to go. I really want to go, especially as the one of the people that's going to be at the press event. He's one of the directors of the game, and it's his first time ever visiting the UK.
Wow.
He's never visited the UK beforehand, so I thought, you know what, if he's going to visit the UK, he has to meet me.
Oh, well, there you go. That's how you do it.
So I kind of want to go, but with the trains being cancelled all week, it's ridiculous.
Absolutely.
It's going to make it from a 3-hour journey to nearly a 5-hour journey.
Mm-hmm. Well, guys, it's been a really interesting week in gaming. We've actually had a lot of interesting news, especially where PlayStation is concerned, and Sony, the company. But first, let's talk about our tweets. This will probably spoil one of the stories for later, so let's just talk about it now. We tweeted about this during the week. A situation arose with the PlayStation Vita. The Vita will no longer support YouTube and Maps, and by association with Maps, Near. Near is an app that uses your location to judge what other gamers around you are playing, and you can interact and unlock little goodies for your games. That is no more, that will be no more, along with Maps and the YouTube app. This kind of set off alarm bells for a lot of people. A lot of people are concerned that Sony is beginning to drop support for the Vita. People are like, oh no, this is the end of the Vita as we know it. It's here, it's beginning. What do you guys think so far? It's 3 apps out of a bunch of different native apps that the Vita currently has. What do you think is going on? Is there a reason?
I think I don't know anymore. I feel Sony has kind of given up on the Vita. I think at this point, like, they haven't even released any significant firmware updates for it outside of stability. I don't. To me, I think it's being driven by third-party companies now, and that's it. I don't think Sony really cares for it anymore.
Well, here's this. This is a response from Sony to Ars Technica, who asked them for a comment. A representative from Sony said that the YouTube app, at least, specifically the YouTube app, was being removed because, quote, the service provider is upgrading their API for YouTube, and this has made it difficult for SCE, that's Sony Computer Entertainment, to continue support of the application on PS Vita. As for Maps, Sony says it has, quote, decided to delete the features after considering users' needs and market trends. The YouTube thing is believable. Absolutely believable, because Google and Facebook, for that matter, do this really just ridiculous thing where, like, every month the interface is different and things change, and it's just really believable that they're doing stuff with the API and the Vita just can't keep up right now. So with that in mind, do you still believe that Sony is trying to give up on the Vita here?
I do, because why is it that the 3DS can still support YouTube, but the Vita can't?
Now, you're going into weird territory there, because when you go between different platforms, certain platforms are coded in certain ways. Like, there could be a number of reasons why that's the case.
Plus, aren't YouTube now support this? Oh shit! YouTube's not going to be supported. I'm sure all the videos are now HTML5 instead, and that probably doesn't help with the Vita. I don't think the Vita supports HTML5 while the 3DS does.
Well,
The Vita doesn't support anything. It's all proprietary software. That's the problem.
yeah. Well, I don't think that's it, because HTML5 is pretty much, it's just a browser thing, really. It's not, there isn't too much of it that's different from previous versions of HTML.
But if the app is programmed to load up the videos from the Flash file and not organized to load up HTML5 files, then chances are it's not compatible.
Well, I will
As I
say
said-
that YouTube and Google can be accessed through the web browser that the Vita has. YouTube and Maps, excuse me, YouTube and Maps. You can get to YouTube and Maps on the Vita through the Vita's web browser, and they use HTML5 there.
Yeah.
Well, as I said, the app itself probably doesn't support HTML5.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, not the browser, but the actual app. Yeah, the application that is running the YouTube.
Right.
And they'd have to redo it all to change it over.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That could be the issue, maybe. I don't know, because we don't know the backgrounds of that specific software.
Right. Well, Ars Technica says that Nier, the app that we talked about, it's still going to work after the update that does all of this, but it's not going to be able to broadcast your location, and it's not going to be able to find other Vita owners that are near you. So it's not going to be that useful. That's what that's basically what Ars Technica is saying.
So it's kind of like having the Street Pass, but it doesn't find anyone and doesn't broadcast anything.
Well, that's the whole purpose of it. It's a useless thing that's just going to sit on your screen because you can't get rid of it.
No, I like the music that plays while you use it. There's always that, you know. What can we do?
The problem with Nier is I don't know if you guys knew, but to me, I couldn't figure out what the hell it did for the longest time. They did not explain how that thing worked at all.
Well, if you go in and play with it a bit, it does like a little tutorial thing.
Yeah, I still couldn't figure out what it did.
It also keeps giving me DLC for games that I don't know. Congratulations, you've owned some new skins on this pooling game. I don't own a pool game.
I think they were hoping that you'd buy the game.
Probably.
We tweeted and asked gamers if they were worried about this. By the way, thanks to @Gabalto for the heads up. He's the one who tweeted us and alerted us to the fact that this was happening. Tori D at Shifty25, he said, not worried at all. They can tell how often these apps are used, so they probably decided to end support because it wasn't worth the cost versus the usage. That's kind of along the lines of what Garri's saying here. So, well, we don't know the details, the little details, but we do know that we have, I think, until April 20. Let me double check here. Maps is going to quit after the software update in March, and the YouTube application is going to be gone after April 20, 2015. Currently you can't download it from the PlayStation Store anymore. That ended on January 28. But if you already have it, you have until April 20th to enjoy it. After that, it will not work. Again, you can still use YouTube via the browser, but otherwise, YouTube on the Vita will be no more.
Sony should really do, for Nier anyway, they should really do like a special giveaway for people who already have it. Like, get an exclusive DLC thingy-me-jig.
Yeah.
Exclusive Vita, I was near skin.
Yeah, I don't know.
I was nearly there.
Yeah, you were near. I get the pun. I understand the pun. Let's talk about one more thing we tweeted earlier in the week. There has been some big news, and it's big news just because of the companies that are involved. Music Unlimited has been a point of controversy with Sony's consoles. There basically has been controversy with the PS4 because people have been wondering, well, why can't we play our own music here? Oh, it must be because Sony's trying to get us to sign up for Music Unlimited. And Music Unlimited is basically like Spotify. In fact, it's exactly like Spotify, except a lot less successful than Spotify. I don't know what it was about Spotify. Maybe it was first, or somehow it just became really, really popular really quickly. So here's Spotify, and Music Unlimited was off here floundering in the background, and now Sony is pulling the plug on Music Unlimited. That's right, no more Music Unlimited. It is going to be gone completely, and it is going to be replaced by Spotify. There's a new contract between Sony and Spotify to have PlayStation 4. If I can speak, if I can organize my thoughts just for a minute, to have Spotify on PlayStation 4. And yes, you will be able to play songs from Spotify in-game. So that's coming. That's huge for PlayStation. Someone here tweeted us at Alpha Fox Warfare. Pretty cool name there, and an interesting icon, a fox with a Pikachu on its head. That's awesome. He says, I guess no one realized Music Unlimited on PS4 supported music in the background. Yeah, a lot of people probably didn't, but a lot of people probably also didn't give Music Unlimited a second glance, at least not after a trial. So, no offense to Sony, I mean, it just wasn't a big deal compared to the likes of Spotify. So, yeah, but it is true, Music Unlimited could play music in the background, but you had to then pay for Music Unlimited, and you probably already had Spotify, so now that's not a problem. Guys, that's big for Sony, that's big for PlayStation. Xbox, I believe, is still using Xbox Music, so it's sticking with its own proprietary thing, at least for now. What do you think's going to go on here?
I think it's going to be the same as Music Unlimited. Quite like obviously the program is different, but I think people will receive it the same way. I don't think people want to pay to listen to music that they already have. They just want to put their music on a system and listen to it.
I think you underestimate how popular Spotify really is. Do you have Spotify?
No, I do not.
No, you are severely underestimating how popular Spotify really is, because Spotify is huge right now. It is the biggest service of its kind. And there are a lot of people that use it, especially if you have a smaller iPhone, like one of the 16 gigabyte iPhones. Because with Spotify, you can just stream your music, or you can also sync your entire collection to your phone so that it's on your phone and you can just play it. You may not have the songs. Like, one of the whole points of a service like this is you can listen to songs that you don't have without actually having to go buy the songs. So there is a lot of value in Spotify. Spotify is really, really big right now, and it's really popular. So I think you're underestimating Spotify. I think it's gonna. Well, I don't, like you said, I think it's pretty much like Music Unlimited, but the way it's used is just on a completely different level than Music Unlimited ever was, and that's unfortunate. I actually gave Music Unlimited a try. And just using the software, just using the app, it just feels behind, you know? So, I don't know. Anything else there, Gary?
Not for me, no.
Ben?
I have the YouTubes. I'm good.
You have YouTube, you're good. Yeah.
I have my laptop next to me when I play games, so if I want to listen to music, I just put my headphones on my laptop.
YouTube.
But I guess it'll be good for my phone, because I never heard of this Spotify until recently.
Well, YouTube's good for finding music, but like, you can't make a playlist, you can't save it, you know. Well, you can make a playlist, but it's still video, you know.
Well, I just have it running at the side, so
yeah, it's different.
If I'm getting distracted, I just minimize the window.
Right.
Good.
It's different. Spotify runs kind of a lot like, I don't know, do you have iTunes?
I have iTunes.
It
Well, I
runs.
don't use iTunes, but I have the iTunes.
It runs a lot like it's the same concept. Like you have your collection of music there. Um, Spotify's library of music is huge. You can find a lot of songs there, and
So
just create your playlist.
a load of Midnight Beast songs and some M&M's.
M&M's?
Yeah, Eminem.
Oh, M&M. I thought you meant the candy. I was like,
Yeah, I like to listen to the Candy.
yeah.
That would be amazing. That should be a thing.
Candy music, musical candy.
It'll be literally pop.
Hmm.
You've heard of pop music?
Yes, it will actually be pop music. Well, that would be soda in America anyway. The
Just do it.
Fonz, the Fonz at SNova34Z says Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo have been around for a while. Do you think it's time for a change, for a different company to step up to compete besides them, or is having these three enough? And that's a good question. What do you guys think?
Yes, enough.
Short and sweet. Any reason?
Because if you keep having too much competition, then you just have a flooded market, and then you'd have the same crash again as you had before.
I agree.
Competition's nice, but you don't want to have too much competition, because if you have too much choice, consumers get confused.
Right. It's all about balance. You don't want a monopoly, and you don't want a flooded market. Garri?
I don't think we need any more, but I think technically the Steam Machine is the next competitor.
I disagree. I have trouble looking at the Steam Machine as a video game console. Like, in every way, it's just your normal PC. It runs Windows, for crying out loud. Like, I just have trouble looking at that as a video game console. But maybe that's just me.
That doesn't even make sense, because the Dreamcast used Windows.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean Dreamcast is not a games console?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe it's not.
The Xbox One will be getting Windows 10.
Windows 10. Well, the thing about that is it's like a specific version of Windows 10. Like, to my understanding, this is just flat out Windows that you'd stick on any PC. You know?
Oh, but some Steam machines will be getting the Steam OS, which is a separate operating system.
Sure, Steam OS is different, but
Would the Steam OS then be counted as a console?
every console has an operating system. Like, my problem is not the console having an operating system. My problem is that operating system is no different from any operating system on a random computer. Like, it has normal computer specs, normal computer architecture, a normal computer build, normal computer OS. Like, there is nothing about it that says video game console, except for the fact that you're supposed to hook it up to your TV.
Well, the PS4 has a standard computer, standard laptop processor, standard laptop graphics card, and standard video memory.
I don't think it has a normal. It doesn't have like Intel or AMD.
It does. It has an AMD CPU.
An MD?
AMD, yeah.
AMD CPU? That was its GPU, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's an APU, so it's got both on board.
Okay. Well, we'll see.
It's a slightly customized APU, but it's still you can still purchase the same PS4 APU for your PC.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as powerful as the PS4 one, because Sony had it customized a bit, but it's technically still the same brand and still make. So it's very iffy right now. What's the difference between a console and computer nowadays, especially with like down updates and installs? There's not a real true console anymore, in my opinion. The PS4 is very close because of the whole fast installs.
Because of its architecture, you're saying.
Yeah. But there's no actual real true consoles when you think about it in a hardware hardware and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I can't figure that word right now.
Hardware.
No, I was going to say something else. Hardware something or other. Hardware specific. There we go.
Hardware specs? Okay.
Yeah, hardware specs.
All right. So there's that. Guys, follow along on Twitter at 4G only. We are tweeting stuff and talking to you, and we like to hear you talk back, because talking to yourself makes you look like an idiot.
That's
So,
what I do on streams. I mean,
so join us on Twitter at 4G only, 4GONLY. And with that, let's move forward. Thank you guys to those of you who tweeted. We appreciate it. So this is interesting, and it's one of those moments where you just take a good facepalm for humanity. Um, a little while ago, Facebook went down, and when Facebook comes down, I understand that Facebook is a pretty well-loved service. People like using Facebook. But for some people, the response was just way past normal because there were 5 people who saw that Facebook was offline and thought that the appropriate response would be to call 911. They called 911 because Facebook was down. And that's interesting because back during the whole holiday PlayStation DDoS thingamabobber, that actually happened too. There was one specific information in West Palm Beach, Florida, where the Palm Beach County Sheriff, at least I think it's the Palm Beach County, it just says, Palm Beach County Sheriff. The Palm Beach Police Department Palm Beach Emergency Services. Can I speak? Garri, did you take my voice or something like that? Like, what's going on?
You're welcome.
Shut up. He said, someone called, and here's the transcript. The caller said, the person on the other end said, 911, what's your emergency? The caller said, do you know what's going on with PlayStation 4 and Xbox Network being down? And the dispatcher said, no. And the caller said, it's been down since Christmas. I heard they arrested 2 people so far. And it's like, since when is that? If you don't know what 911 is about, I believe in the UK it's what? It's 999 or it's 112 or something like that?
you've stolen his words so much that Glenn's gone quiet.
I'm sorry? Can you hear me?
I can now.
I was talking.
He was talking the whole time.
Yeah, I think Ben just had a stroke.
Weird. Sorry about that. It literally went down for a second there for me.
It's Microsoft's fault. Well, basically what I said was 911 is kind of like 999 or 112 in the UK. Is that right?
Not 112, but
not 112.
No,
Okay,
999.
I don't know where 112 is, but if you're in the UK, if you have a life and death emergency, you dial 999 in the UK or 911 in the US. That is how you get the police, an ambulance, or the fire department. And so these people are calling because PlayStation Network is down. Now this is kind of a PSA for me. These are people who are trained to handle life or death situations. If Facebook is down, or PSN or Xbox is down, that is not a life or death situation. And thus, 911 or 999 is definitely the incorrect place to call. The 911 dispatchers, it doesn't matter where you are, there are no 911 dispatchers that are employed by Sony, at least not in the context of 911. Maybe they might work for Sony on the side personally or something like that. But 911 or 999 does not work for Sony, and they do not work for Microsoft. How the heck are they supposed to know about Xbox and PSN being down? Don't waste time. Don't waste their time. They could be handling someone who is really in a life or death situation, who is really, really in trouble. You are wasting their time with this nonsense? Dude, do not call 911 just because Facebook is down. Do not call 911 just because PSN is down. Do not call 911 just because Xbox is down. Do not call 911 because Wendy's ran out of lemonade. Do not call 911 because that police officer was kind of cute and you're lonely. This is not what 911 is for.
Is it? Well, I'm screwed then.
And those and those examples about Wendy's being out of lemonade. Someone went to Wendy's and asked for lemonade, and Wendy's said, "Sorry, we're out." So they called 911. It's like,
wow.
What kind of brains do you have? Like, why would you call? What is 911 supposed to do? You know, get your fat butt to
Emergency
Walmart
lemonade
across the
phone
street and buy your
line.
own freaking lemonade. Like, come on. Sorry, Ben.
The emergency lemonade phone line. They come in with like a lemon on the top of it. Like, dispatches lemonade in emergencies.
Oh my goodness. Gary, what's up, man?
Oh, nothing, man. Just stupidity. Just utter stupidity.
I think I have a story that will top that though.
Mm.
Do you want to hear it?
No.
Really? You sure?
No.
Ah.
Go ahead.
American calls the police because someone changed his PlayStation settings while he was asleep.
Wait, what?
He'd woken up and his settings had changed a little bit, and so he called 911.
People are dumb. People are dumb. And you know what the kicker is? When the the dispatcher informed one of these callers that, 911's for life and death situations, this is not an emergency. The person called back and said that the dispatcher was rude. Was rude. It's like, when did they start being a guest services department? They're not there to be nice to you. They're there to save your butt when you're in trouble, when you're about to die. That's what they're there for. They're not there to make you feel good about yourself. That's what therapy's for. They are there to save your life. So the moral of the story is, don't waste people's time with utter nonsense, okay? Like not the dispatchers, not 911, not the airlines, people tweeting stuff about bombs being on the airlines. Don't do stupid crap. It just makes you look like an idiot, and it's gonna get you in trouble. It is by the way, it is 100% illegal to call 911 when you don't need 911. Okay? Just keep that in mind. It is, in fact, illegal. I don't know about the UK. Here, it's illegal. It's against the law, so don't do it. Anything else for that, guys?
Yeah, I can't remember, but we do have a non-emergency number for stuff that's emergencies but not emergencies as well.
So just important things, but not life or death.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is that?
But I can't remember it now. I've never used it, so.
Oh.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things that unless you're actually gonna need it, you're not gonna. But yeah, it's a kind of a non-emergency, hospital and police normally. But to be honest, most people just throw 999.
Yeah, it's for emergencies. It's for emergencies. Actually, if you want to, you can go to the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Twitter, at PB County Sheriff, and you will see the tweet there for yourself and some comments.
To be honest,
people
where
think
I live,
it's funny.
though, I would never trust my police.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's not uncommon.
Right.
It's unfortunate, but it's not uncommon. Believe me.
Yeah.
That is unfortunate. If you have subscribed to PlayStation Plus or Xbox Live, the free games for this month, February 2015, have been revealed. For PlayStation 4 on PlayStation Plus, you're going to get Transistor and Apotheon. PlayStation 3, you're going to get Yakuza 4 and Thief. Vita owners, you will get Rogue Legacy and Kick and Fennec. Xbox, you have games with gold. And you're going to... Oh, I said Xbox, and my Xbox decided to react to that. I don't even know why it's on. You are going to get IDARB, hashtag IDARB, whatever it's called. It's usually $15. It's a little indie game. It's free during February. Xbox 360, you're going to get Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. Again, usually $15, but now free for Xbox Live. Xbox Live Gold, through February 15. Then, on February 16, you can get Sniper Elite V2, usually $30, for free. And you can get that from the 16th through the end of February. I don't know about the discounts, though. The discounts, I think, change week by week, so we'll see how that goes for Xbox. Only, guys, I think that a lot of people are still kind of complaining that, there aren't a lot of options yet for the freebies. And, for one, they're freebies, so don't whine. You're not paying anything for them. You're just a member of this service that does a whole bunch of other stuff. That's the main attraction. The freebies are just kind of a little extra. So, don't whine too much, especially because these are still new consoles. They don't have huge libraries of games to give you for free yet. So, any comments on the free games for February?
Rogue Legacy is also free for PS4 owners.
Oh, it's also for PS4. It's cross-buy, is it?
Yeah, cross-buy PS3, PS4, and Vita.
Okay. Um,
I'm happy with those games, especially the Vita. I've been after Rogue Legacy. Oh, well, I was tempted to buy Rogue Legacy, but now it's free.
I still need to play Persona 4 Golden all over again. I need to
That's
do
an
the new
amazing
game.
game. I need to play it again.
That game is so amazing. I love that game. Garri, anything going here?
I think it's a good selection once again. My only issue, or not issue, concern is the Thief for PS3. I was hoping it'd be for PS4. But other than that, I think it's another good selection.
I seem to remember it being on the PS4's list recently, wasn't it?
No?
It's been discounted a few times,
It's been
but
discounted, that's what I'm thinking of. Okay.
Yeah, but now it kind of just kills the chance of it going on PS4 for free. I don't think Sony will give the same game on two different platforms.
Well, I don't know. It might.
Well, they could do it, but it'll be for a lot of outrage.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of outrage, I love how you give me these segues. You guys still play Destiny, right?
Ben does.
yeah, I do.
Okay, if you play Destiny, then you may be familiar with an NPC named Xur, X-U-R. And what Xur does is he appears somewhere in the tower, which is basically just the hub where everyone shows up, and he sells exotic gear. It's been a while since I played Destiny. He sells exotic gear with strange coins. You can collect strange coins throughout the game. You trade them in for exotic gear, and a lot of people have been thinking, well, he's random, but now there's some controversy over that because of a stream in which Deej, I think he's one of the community managers at Bungie, he said in the stream specifically that Xur was not random, that it was actually planned, that there is a plan, and the implication is that they choose what Xur sells. And that is pretty significant because a lot of people have noticed that Xur often sells the same stuff week after week. I think there was an armored piece for the Titans in Destiny, the Armamentarium, I think it was called. And they sold that like 4 or 5 weeks straight. That doesn't sound random to me. That's pretty crazy if that's random. And so people have been questioning it, and Deej in the stream confirmed, hey, it's not random, it's planned. However, he then went back, he backtracked on that, and he said this. He said, Xur is randomized. There are times when we can pull off miracles like making him stay in the tower longer when Christmas is canceled, but his inventory is governed by the same chaos that influences all the loot drops. This is on Bungie's forums. You can check this out for yourself. In regards to the video, he says that the plan was more about the fact that they know what he's selling before he appears, not that they can change what he sells, just that they know what he's going to sell. The exact lines he said were, "We set him in motion and his will is not his own." In regards to the video, he says that he can confess that he's not always in the loop when it comes to these things, so you should take pre-game lobby comments among friends with a grain of salt. The video was from months ago, and he had still been learning the intricacies of all the new systems that we launched with the game. He calls it a conspiracy theory. He uses the example of Gillarhorn, which is a rocket launcher, an exotic rocket launcher in the game, rather rare. It's very
amazing rocket launcher.
It's a popular request, but he says that he doesn't even have one. I find an issue with this because there is the possibility, sure, that they just know what he sells before he appears, but then there comes the whole idea of, hey, he's selling this stuff again and again and again and again in consecutive weeks. That's not randomized. That does not sound remotely like randomization. So, what do you think? Do you guys think that Xur is randomized, or do you think that Deej is just full of it? Because he first said it's not randomized, and now he said it is randomized. What's going on?
I think he's full of it. I really do. I don't think it's randomized at all. I think it's set based on what weapons people want and what people use in the week. So if everyone had Gjallarhorns, the game would be ridiculously easy. And they know that people love the Gjallarhorn, so if they nerfed the Gjallarhorn, that would piss off a lot of people. So they've got to balance it, so if they sold it, then everyone would have it, therefore everything would become easier. they would nerf it, which would piss off the people that had it before. But if they don't have it sold, that'll piss people off because it's never for sold. It gets sold.
So it sounds to me like you're saying no, Xur is not randomized, and he should not be.
Yeah, I don't think he should be, to be honest.
Okay.
Well, it would be nice if he was, but at the same time, I believe that it's
just better for the game. If it is.
Yeah, better for the game. Even if, though, I would rather like to be able to buy the exotics I want.
Because I notice, I actually think that hits the nail right on the head because Icebreaker. By the way, Icebreaker is a sniper rifle that just recharges ammo by itself, so you never have to worry about ammo. Icebreaker sold once months ago, and then a lot of people.
Dallas sold once because I bought it.
Right, and then a lot of people really wanted it again, and it only just a couple weeks ago started selling again. Like, it's been a long gap between the two. And it's a very powerful weapon, so I can definitely see them trying to moderate because you don't want everyone to have this weapon just like that.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Also, do you want to know a small cheat? Well, not really a cheat. I don't know if it's a glitch or if it's been patched. I've only tried it once. Okay, when Xur's up on a Friday?
Mm-hmm.
Go into the tower, turn off Destiny, go into your settings, change your date to a previous Saturday, then log back into Destiny, and then you'll see all the Xur's wear from the week before, or whatever week you set it to.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm about to go get an icebreaker.
No, you can't buy it. You can only look at it.
Oh, you can only look at it. Dang it. Yeah, I missed it.
Because it's got to serve the information to the server, so, Although you can look it on your system, that's why I don't believe it's randomized, because I find it weird that you can just, change your day and it's still there.
Mm-hmm.
If it's randomized, then how come it's always the same every week if you reset it back to that date for everyone?
Mm-hmm.
So no, I don't believe it's randomized.
Personally, I've just become rather disillusioned with Destiny. Like, I love the game, but just all the strike missions, they're all, nothing changes. You do them once, you do them a million times, nothing changes. It gets old after a while, at least to me. Gary, what do you think about this? Should Xur be randomized, and do you think he is?
I think he should be randomized. I don't think he is. Quite honestly, I mean, to me, I don't really care too much for Destiny anymore. I think Bungie's been misleading consumers with Destiny 2 months before the game even came out.
How so?
I just think everything they promised, they haven't delivered on in that game, in my opinion.
Why do you think that Xur should be randomized?
For the same reason Ben said. If you do a randomized, I guess you can program in a certain percentage of a certain weapon to appear at that random sequence.
Mm-hmm.
So, like you said, that sniper rifle that recharges the ammo. I mean, you can set a certain percentage, like there's a 5% chance that it'll appear.
Okay. So you say randomize it, but restrict how often, how likely it is to appear.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think that's reasonable, Ben? Because your opinion was that he should not be randomized.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable, but at the same time, it's a bit weird, really. I would like it to be randomized, but at the same time, I don't want everyone running around with Galahorns.
Yeah.
Because then we'd just win.
I've totally given up on PvP because everyone seems to have a Vex Mythoclast all of a sudden, and when you're facing up against someone with a Vex Mythoclast, there's really not much you can do, and it just kind of ruins the whole experience.
And then you got the new weapons, like the legendary version of the rocket launcher that has the same effect as a Galahorn. But then they've also got the new hard raid weapon that's really rubbish anyway. They need to buff that so badly.
Right.
The Necrochasm, it's supposed to be the new equal version of the Vex Mythoclast, really, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
But it's ridiculous. It takes an entire clip to kill one person in PvP.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's a mess. That's definitely a mess.
And it's an assault rifle, so...
I still have my legendary bounty for Thorn.
Well...
I'm on the part where you're supposed to kill people with void damage, and I got the I found an assault rifle with void damage, but The problem with that is it's one of those assault rifles that has a really, really high rate of fire and a really, really big magazine, but really, really low damage per bullet.
It's
So
my favourite weapon now.
is it really?
Aphion's epilogue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm worried
Oh,
about
you
it.
beat the raid then. Congratulations.
Well, I've beaten the raid a bunch of times, but I've just never gotten the thing yet until now. No, I got the what's it called? The scout rifle. I got that one.
Nice.
But I got.
I've only ever got that Aphion's epilogue.
Wait, what?
That's all I've ever got from the raid, beating the raid.
Epilogue, yeah. It's a good weapon.
Yeah, it's a good weapon. I just would like anything else.
Right.
No, I did get a new exotic recently, which I'm happy with. I'll bring this up because it's PlayStation. The Fourth Horseman. It's the PlayStation exclusive weapon.
Oh, okay.
It's a fully automatic shotgun.
Right.
Anyway, yeah.
Okay. If you play League of Legends, by the way, League is a fantastic game. It's a lot of fun. But what makes League really bad is not the game itself, but the people who play it. League is it's just a cesspool. It's a cesspool of just scummy people. I hate to say no, I don't hate to say it like that because that's what it is. That's exactly what it is. You go there and you meet a lot of people who forget that you're actually talking to human beings through your keyboard. Like, they see these avatars on the game and they forget the fact that there's a human reading them. And so when they're angry or when they're frustrated or when they're just in a stupid mood, they'll just basically be nasty to you for no reason. And that, in general, brings the whole team down. Most of the time when you have someone like that, you lose the game. You lose the match. So toxic behavior, League is just plain full of it. But I definitely applaud Riot Games because Riot recognizes this big flaw in its game. And it has been, since the beginning, it's been trying to kind of curb that. It's trying to, not just like throw rewards at people for doing it, but use intelligence and create lasting positivity in the game. And I've been playing League for a few years on and off, and I've definitely noticed improvements with each effort that Riot makes. A new effort is coming out. They said sometime last year, they said that they're going to be revamping the punishment and reward systems. Very recently, if you are a good player, a positive player, you probably got a random surprise, a random gift. In this case, it was a mystery box with a skin in it. So you would open it and you get a random skin that you don't already have. And it's just for being a good player. It's like, congratulations. If you were a crappy human being in this game, you got zip, and so you should. This is part of the new initiative with League of Legends. They're going to be doing this randomly. It's not going to be on a schedule. You're not going to know what the reward is. You're not going to know when the reward is. League says that they do it this way because, you can just wait for the reward and be on your best behavior until you get the reward, and then just return to however crappy you were before. So they really want to create lasting positivity in this game. And so they're going to have this at random. You don't know when the next surprise is, but you just want to be on your best behavior all the time so that you can earn it. There are three different tiers, three different parts of this new system. There's reform, punishment, and reward. They talked about the reward and the reform in this. It's on their blog. If you go to na.leagueoflegends.com or eu.leagueoflegends.com, you will find it in their blog under player behavior, game updates, player behavior. And so they said it's not just about rewarding players. It's about, it's not just about banning negative people. Here's what they said. There's a diverse group of players online and in real life, and each group of players has different motivations and respond differently to different consequences. We need a diverse spectrum of systems to address overall player behavior problems in online communities. Guys, do you think this is definitely probably by the way, they haven't posted about the punishment part yet. They're going to do that later. So they've only talked about part of the new system for player behavior management. Do you think that this is a really good push from Riot? Do you think that they're doing it right? And do you think that it's even worth it?
I think it is worth it to do it because you're encouraging people to play nice now. I mean, I play League of Legends a few times and it's all been bad experiences.
Isn't it a shame that you have to encourage grown people to play nice? Isn't that a shame?
I mean, you can have even more drastic measures and like just shut the game down or threaten to if people stop playing nice, but that's not ever going to happen.
No. And I don't think they should, because that casts a negative light then on Riot Games.
Yeah, but it's always nice to reward.
That would mean more people would troll.
Absolutely. So I guess my question is, not knowing that we don't yet have the information on the punishment part of the system, that we only have the reward and the reform, what do you believe? I think actually we just have the reward. We don't really have much about the reform either. There are just a couple paragraphs on there about how it all works. But knowing that we don't have all the information, do you think that this is a good approach that Riot Games has? Do you think that this could really... do you think that the ideas that they're explaining about lasting effects as opposed to short-term effects, this unscheduled reward system, do you think that this is a good approach to this problem in League of Legends?
I don't know. And I guess it's something you can test out, which I think is what they're doing. But it's just something we'll have to see if it works for them or not.
Ben?
No idea. I have no idea.
In a way, it feels like you're trying to address human immaturity, in a way. You're trying to address people who don't know how to handle their anger in a good way. You're trying to address people who are frustrated and their response is to take it out on other people, and whether or not they actually deserve it. And in a way to me, it feels like, this will probably make an improvement, but overall it's not going to make enough of an improvement to be a big deal. And at the same time, I'm impressed with how deeply they've thought about it and how deeply they're going into it and how careful they're being about not just rewarding people just for the short term, but trying to encourage long-term results. I think that I'm impressed with that, but I guess the big question mark is, what's it going to do? And for that, all we can do is wait and watch. Continuing with League of Legends, if you are a League of Legends fan, and frankly, even if you're not, you can now download Music of League of Legends Volume 1. That's right, that is a full album of 15 songs directly from League of Legends. League of Legends has some really good music. I like League of Legends' music. You can download it for free. Go to leagueoflegends.com, and you can download a full album of MP3 files, and you can listen to them beforehand on the website too. So check that out, Music of League, Volume 1. Let's see, where do we go from here? Let's talk about PC hardware for a second. Do you guys know anything about PC hardware?
Kind of.
Kind of? There's been a little controversy with Nvidia.
Yeah.
Are you aware of it?
Yeah.
Tell us what's going on.
Basically, their new brand of 970s were advertised to have 4 gig of RAM usable in games, but those who've got their nice shiny new 970s home found out that the games were lagging that were using the 4 gigabytes because the only 3.5 gigabyte was fast RAM and 512 megabytes was actually slow VRAM and not actual proper RAM. So any games that tried to access all 4 gigs would have slowdowns and frame tearing issues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a big mess, especially because these are not cheap things. This is computer hardware. It's supposed to be up there. Originally, Nvidia seems to have treated it like a bug. They said, "Well, we're looking into the issue," basically. Which it is. It's definitely not. That's definitely not what it's supposed to be doing. However, recently a forum moderator named Manuel G wrote this, and I'm going to read it kind of quickly here. I hope you can follow along. It is kind of technical. If you need a little time, just Google the VRAM issue, Nvidia's VRAM.
Virtual RAM,
exactly. And
it's virtual random access memory.
Perfect. And the model number is GTX 970. Here's what the moderator said. The GeForce GTX 970 is equipped with 4 gigabytes of dedicated graphics memory. However, the 970 has a different configuration of SMs than the 980 and fewer crossbar resources to the memory system. To optimally manage memory traffic in this configuration, we segment graphics memory into a 3.5 gigabyte section and a half gigabyte section. The GPU, or graphics processing unit, has higher priority access to the 3.5 gigabyte section. When a game needs less than 3.5 gigabytes of video memory per draw command, then it will only access the first partition, and third-party applications that measure memory usage will report 3.5 gigabytes of memory in use on the GTX 970, but may report more for the GTX 980 if there is more memory used by other commands. When a game requires more than 3.5 gigabytes of memory, then we use both segments. So basically it's saying if the game needs less, then it's only going to get less. It's only going to get the first block of the partition. If it needs more, then both of those segments are used. But until then, that second segment is not accessible. He continues, we understand there have been some questions about how the GTX 970 will perform when it does access the 0.5 gigabyte memory segment. The best way to test that is to look at a game performance. Compare a GTX 980 to a 970 on a game that uses less than 3.5 gigs, then turn up the settings so the game needs more than 3.5 gigs, and compare the 980 and 970 performance again. They showed a couple of graphs. It's kind of a mess, because basically if you're going to spend hundreds of dollars on a graphics card, or anything for that matter, you expect it to do what it tells you on the package that it's going to do. You don't get a chance in the store to try this thing out. You have to trust that the information that you're getting is accurate. And obviously, consumers have felt misled by this, because they're expecting to have 4 gigabytes of memory, and instead they're only being given access to 3.5 gigabytes of that. And for some reason, Nvidia decided to take that last half gigabyte and put it in a separate segment that you only get to use when the computer asks for it. So that's interesting. Ben, you seem to know just right off the bat what the issue is going on. What do you think about all this? What's Nvidia thinking here?
I think bad Nvidia. That's a bad Nvidia. Well, no, it's especially with RAM usage going up higher this generation because of the fact that PS4 and Xbox One use 8 gigabytes of RAM. PC, as always, PC usage goes up now because of that. There is a bit of a RAMs race now.
A RAMs, yeah. Why do I feel like there's a reference to Goat Simulator in here somewhere?
No. Well, you've just brought it in, but no.
Yes, I made the reference. Okay, I did it. Here we go.
But yeah, I can see it being a bit of an issue, especially as I said, it wouldn't be too bad. In fact, I think they should actually block access to that last petition. Just
not have it at all.
Because that last petition is actually slower than the other petition anyway by quite a bit. I can't remember exactly how many specs, but I think it's... Sorry if I'm wrong with this, everyone. The normal 3.5 gigabyte petition has 150 gigabits per second, I think, or 180 read and write speed. So it's standard, pretty much. But the last petition, and this is what causes the issue, is not the fact that it's petition. That's not the issue. The second petition, the 512 megabytes, only has a 22 gigabyte read and write speed. So it's a huge difference between the 3.5 and the 500 petition. And that's what causes the issues.
So bottom line here, if you're talking to Nvidia, you say, hey, Nvidia, get rid of this half gigabyte, write on the box that it's a 3.5 gigabyte device, and sell it as it is.
Pretty much, yeah. Apologize for your screw up.
Please do. People have spent hundreds of dollars on these things. Like, seriously.
Well, in the UK, if you bought yours from Overclockers, they will be refunding anyone that feels like they were ripped off.
Mm-hmm.
You can send. They said the fact that there's no real. You don't really need to do it, but if you feel like you've got your money's worth, you can send it back, and they will refund you.
I like when companies do that.
Yeah.
That's good PR there. Garri, I know you popped away for just a second. What do you know about all of this? What do you think?
I don't know anything about it.
Okay.
Sorry.
In that case, we'll move on.
Though AMD did make a bit of a jab at them afterwards, which was a bit mean.
Or did they really?
There's an advert for their new graphics card that says 4 GB is truly 4 GB.
Well, at least they're owning up to it, sort of, maybe.
Yeah.
A little bit.
It's a bit mean, really. A little bit of a low blow considering how many issues AMD has normally.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess it's competition.
That's how it is. I mean, Nvidia opened that door, so there it is. If you can't take the heat, well,
Stay out of the kitchen.
Exactly. So there's been a lot of moving and shaking in the video game industry. Sega is one such company. 300 jobs are going to go bye-bye. The San Francisco office of Sega is going away. It's being closed, and 300 jobs in Sega are going to go away. In addition, Sega may be moving away from the console space. It may turn its focus to PC and mobile devices only, and consoles will be it. I don't know what that means for Sonic games coming to consoles. I think Sonic Team is still under Sega, but it's also kind of its own thing. So it's kind of more of a licensing kind. I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know what's gonna happen. It's big news for Sega, one of the bigger companies from back in the day, and also the owner of Atlas, which develops the Persona games. So it's concerning to a lot of people. Like that's a big deal. So I guess we have to wonder, what's going to happen. The corporation, this is from GameSpot, the corporation issued a notice to investors on Friday explaining that it expects to make just $34 million in net profit by the end of the financial year. Now, I know that sounds like a lot, but the next part of this sentence will make you understand here. It's a nosedive in performance compared to the $260 million it made the year prior. So in 1 year, Sega went from $260 million to just $34 million. That is a huge loss well, it's not a loss, it's just a huge difference in profit. And I have no doubt that just scared everybody. Sega has actually been planning this since May, according to GameSpot. In 2004, they released Alien Isolation, Rome 2 Total War, and Sonic Boom. And a lot of you probably went, there's the problem, Sonic Boom. I don't know. Sonic Boom is just a big question mark for a lot of people. So, digital games is, I believe, one of Sega's properties. It is basically being positioned to do smartphone and PC gaming, and they may be ignoring the console space going forward. Guys, what's going on? This is big news. What's going on here?
Something that's been going on with Japanese companies for a while now. Unfortunately,
right. Capcom did this too, didn't they? They had problems.
Yes, I hate to say it, but they're behind with the times, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
And the fact that they continuously keep games only in Japan is hurting them, in my opinion, as well. They're just not giving a chance to their franchises. Sega has a goldmine of titles that they can release and remake and give reboots to, and they don't do that. They keep hanging on to Sonic, who I'm sorry to say has been dead since Dreamcast.
I disagree.
To me, there has not been a single good Sonic game since Sonic Adventure on the Dreamcast. Well, maybe the BioWare RPG that they made on the DS, but that's it.
Sonic Colors did okay. It didn't do fantastically, but I think it did okay.
But they just keep throwing Sonic everywhere, and it's not working. And they should have realized this a long time ago. Um, it sucks. It really does, because I love Sega. I've always loved Sega, but they're just mistakes after mistakes after mistakes. And it's either you get somebody new in charge of your company at this point, or you pretty much shut down and sell off your franchises like THQ did and let somebody who knows what they're doing do something with them.
Yep, Sega. You know, the whole thing about Sonic used to be my favorite video game character, but he's been so absent, and then they started doing... I loved Sonic Heroes. You know, a lot of people are like, oh, well, I didn't want to play as Knuckles or Tails, but I loved Sonic Heroes. I still love Sonic Heroes. But then they started doing this Sonic Unleashed thing, and they changed the character, and, you know, it just feels like they don't know what to do with him. They keep sticking him in all these different versions. They did one with hoverboards, you know, and they did one where he turns into a werewolf. And, you know, Sonic Colors, I think it did well just because it felt like them going back to Sonic. Like, this is what Sonic is. And, you know, now they're doing this Sonic Boom thing, and I just don't know where... It feels like Sonic's just having an identity crisis, and Sega just doesn't know how to handle him anymore. And so...
sorry.
Sorry, and Sonic's just one of their franchises. They have all sorts of different titles, as Garri said, that they could do, and that they just don't touch, you know?
Just go and look at the Sonic Mega Collection on the PS3. Pick any one of those games and they'll probably sell more if they re-release those games than anything they put out now. I'm sorry to say. Like, where is Shinobi? Shinobi is a huge name for them. Non-existent. No, they haven't done anything with Streets of Rage. They keep renewing the license to it, but doing nothing with it. Fans have been trying to recreate that game for the longest time, and Sega keeps shutting them down, but yet they're not doing anything with it. Why spend money to keep something if you're not going to do anything with it?
Well, all sorts of questionable decisions. All sorts. Ben, did you get to comment on this?
No, what I'm going to say is, I'm going to say this. I said this a long time ago. Well, a few weeks ago. They should listen to what Jim Sterling said about Sonic. What they need to do is hire someone to sit in the room at Sonic Team, and when someone says, "Ooh, I have a great new idea," or "Ooh, I have a new idea for the Sonic franchise," the guy in the corner is paid to walk over to that person, smack him over the head with a newspaper, and go, "No, Sonic does a run, goes through a ring, and does a bit of a boss fight, and frees the animals." And then
exactly. Why is it that Nintendo keep selling millions of units of Mario when he does the same thing? He jumps on stuff. You know?
And occasionally sets stuff on fire and maybe does a bit of a fly.
But yet they keep the core game intact, whereas Sega can't keep their core game intact. They always have to change too much.
They should just run a bit, do a bit of a spin, kill the Robotnik, and then win.
Now, what you're asking for here is interesting, because, and I, by the way, I completely disagree with it, because I love this kind of game, but platformers have been on the decline in favor of, you know, shooters and games like that. RPGs too, but just in general, platformers have been of less interest to people lately. And basically, you're asking them to take Sonic and keep him a platformer, in which case, you know, the initial nostalgia might be fine, but is that sustainable? Is that what Sega's afraid of?
They shouldn't be afraid of it.
They should or
shouldn't?
With
digital services nowadays. I mean, really, if they're worried about it too much, they're worried it won't make that much money, just release it as a digital download. They'll, you know, do Sonic 5 like Sonic 4 again, but make it good.
But make it good. That's
I'm sorry, they tried going the shooter route. Remember Shadow the Hedgehog?
I loved that game.
No, you didn't.
I did. I'm not joking. I beat it 4 times. I didn't think of it as Shadow the Hedgehog. I thought it was Shooty Bang Bang, the speedy game.
The character,
it was still a good game.
The character doesn't make sense in anything else. if you look at the character, what else can he be in besides a platformer?
Who, Shadow?
Sonic.
Yeah, Shadow.
Oh, Sonic?
Sonic could be in a racing game because he is very fast.
They have a racing game. It's probably the most high-selling Sonic game they have.
Frankly,
Also,
Sonic could be in an RPG easily.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, Sonic already has an RPG.
It's successful. When Sega didn't touch it, they let BioWare, a company who knows what they're doing, do.
And then BioWare gave Sonic the same BioWare story as BioWare makes, which makes me sad. It's the BioWare storyline.
What is the BioWare storyline?
Big bad evil appears. You must search the world for an alliance. It's pretty much the Lord of the Rings, the storyline. But every BioWare game follows the same sort of storyline, pretty much.
That's a shame.
It does, though, when you think about it. I never thought about it until Mass Effect 2. Well, 3, really. I thought, wait there, I'm sure I did this before in Dragon Age.
But it's not even Sonic. It's all their franchises. You know, if you want an action game, they have Altered Beasts. They have that franchise. You can do a lot of stuff with that franchise.
Yeah.
They haven't done anything. They released an Altered Beast on the PS3 only in Japan. Never saw it outside Japan. Why? They're sitting on so many great franchises from the Genesis and the Saturn days, even.
If they wanted to,
nothing with them. Like, why is there no Panzer Dragoon anymore?
Well, if they wanted to print money, they just re-release Shenmue.
It sounds like they have the potential, but they're just throwing it away. They're like the Seahawks in the Super Bowl just yesterday.
Don't even mention that.
No, I was just talking about those earlier.
That was so sad. Oh my!
I thought they were hawks that live in the sea. I was very confused.
That was so sad. Oh, I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, that was disgusting.
I don't feel sorry for them. I'll just say that. I don't feel sorry for them at all. They threw that. That was their game to win, and they threw it.
I was confused at why hawks would live in the sea.
Probably by the sea. Not hawk. Yeah, I don't know.
And then wouldn't you support the Patriots? You know, because otherwise Liquid Snake would kill us all.
Well, let's talk about another company who's going through restructuring. That is Sony itself. Not exactly restructuring so much as just letting go of a property. Sony Online Entertainment is the studio that created EverQuest, which is, goodness, TechCrunch.com says, and I quote, and to a large extent the modern MMO genre. Sony Online Entertainment has done a lot for the gaming industry. But now Sony has sold it. That was announced just today, Monday, the 2nd of February. It will now be owned by an investment management firm named Columbus Nova, and it's going to be called Daybreak Studios. That's a big deal. I mean, Sony Online Entertainment, EverQuest, DC Universe Online, Star Wars. Did they do a Star Wars game? Star Wars Galaxies?
Star Wars Galaxies, I think it was.
Let me look at the article here on TechCrunch. Yep, those PlanetSide 2 and H1Z1, which is new, by the way. They did The Matrix Online. It received an Emmy in 1998 for EverQuest and its role in the development of the MMORPG genre. That MMO you have, World of Warcraft, Guild Wars 2, think Sony Online Entertainment. They're the ones that were kind of the pioneers of this genre. There were layoffs, significant layoffs, in San Diego and Austin studios for SOE last year, and of course, there was the attack in 2011. That could not have helped. Let me tell you, Sony lost a fortune from that attack in 2011 in just reparations to the community, because that all clear identity protection thing that they gave each of the 70 million customers that were affected, that's freaking expensive. That's $1 million of insurance for 70 million people. They lost a fortune on that. That I'd even go so far to say that probably contributed to the fact that Sony had to let go of SOE right now. the new owner's plan is to continue to offer and expand. I'm reading directly from TechCrunch right now. To continue to offer and expand on SOE's existing lineup, and they plan to release EverQuest Next in the near future, which was Sony Online Entertainment's original plan. However, they're also doing some other things. Just earlier, Jens Anderson, he teased on Twitter that DC Universe Online could come to Xbox. Specifically, he said, "Who wants DC Universe Online on the Xbox?" That is not to say that that is even in the books. Like, that's not even to say that they've even written that down on paper yet. But goodness, the fact that they own the company now, nothing stops them from doing that unless there's a contract with Sony that lets them do that. And if they're tweeting that, like, either Anderson is not aware of such terms, or they don't exist, and I'm more likely to believe that they just don't exist. So, it's going to be interesting. It's no longer SOE, it's now going to be Daybreak Game Company, and so that's big news. That's big news today, and probably points to a little of Sony's troubles. The company's been doing really, really well with the PS4. By now, it's got to have been 19 million of those things sold. That's huge, but the company's still having some problems, and I am definitely thinking that the 2011 attack was a big contributor to what's going on right now. That was a fortune that they spent just trying to make everything right. Guys, what do you think? I know, Garri, actually you brought this up earlier. I apologize. I meant to have you talk about this. What do you think is going on? Like, my mind is blown. Like, what's going on? Where do we go from here?
It is huge news because there are some pretty big franchises under this name that Sony Online Entertainment had. Obviously, EverQuest, pioneer in a way of MMORPGs. My problem, though, with Sony Online Entertainment is they were never able to get out of the shadow of that game. And I don't think they've made anything even close to being as successful as the original EverQuest was. Well, as far as releasing these games on Microsoft's console, it's great and all, but the problem is going to come in, like you said, DC Universe Online is PS3, PS4, and PC players can play together in that game. This is something Microsoft does not allow. We've seen this with Final Fantasy XIV. That's why Final Fantasy XIV...
Actually, sorry to interrupt. In Xbox's February update, actually, no, not in the February update. In the Windows 10 thing, it will allow PC and console gamers to play together.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying Microsoft does not want their players playing with PlayStation players.
Oh, right. No, they don't want that.
And that's where the problem is going to come in. They're either going to have to create completely new servers to allow the Xbox players to play with PC players, or they can keep all the servers together. Right now, DC Universe Online is on one mega server where all the servers are just on one server. So if they do this, they'll have to go and make a second server for that because it's just not going to work. And
right, they're not going to take the game off of PlayStation.
Yeah, and that's kind of where the problem is going to come in there in a way. And obviously this poses questions for PlanetSide 2 as well, which is coming out soon. Same thing, PS4 players can play with PC players in that game. So what's going to happen when it comes to Xbox, if it comes to Xbox? But other than that, it's kind of sad to see this happen to Sony, because this is a huge studio for them. They rank in a lot of money. MMO companies rank in a lot of money.
Right.
But like you said, I don't know if how big of an effect the hack had. Obviously, those games were offline for quite a while, over a month, almost. And that's a lot of money to lose. But
absolutely.
Like I said, like they really haven't made a game since the original EverQuest that's really stood up to the competition that's out there.
Yeah, they have been a little... I haven't heard too much about them. I think they were behind... oh, goodness. There was another one. It was like a kid one, and I remember there was like this little furry little character on the TV on the commercial. I don't remember what it was called. But goodness, they've been big. They've been really big, and it's a loss for Sony. On their thing, of course, on their statement about it on their forums, they said, "Yeah, we're pleased to announce this and that." I mean, Sony that's got to be a heartbreaker for Sony.
And I mean, you got to kind of look at it like, if you have to shut down a Star Wars MMO, then you're doing something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is Star Wars. The most hardcore fans of Star Wars will pay to play the worst Star Wars game just because it has Star Wars in it.
It's true. It's absolutely true.
And the fact that you have to shut that game down, I mean, it lasted a long time. Yeah, I think it was almost 10 years that game lasted, but still, it's Star Wars. You should not shut down a Star Wars game.
Oh my goodness, what a mess. What a mess. Ben, what do you think? What are you seeing here?
I pretty much agree with everything that Garri just said. But I don't think that Sony's losing much with it being gone, really, to be honest. And I can see in the future, hopefully they'll go Microsoft consoles. And even if they were still part of Sony, we probably might have seen it on Microsoft eventually, because even though Sony Online Entertainment was part of Sony, it was not part of the PlayStation brand of Sony. So really, they could do anything they wanted. They could have put PlanSide 2 on the Xbox. Sony would have probably not said anything about it because it wouldn't affect their PlayStation sales as much as people seem to think.
No, Sony Online Entertainment had nothing to do with PlayStation except it published games on PlayStation. It's not the same. It's more about Sony than PlayStation right now. But that still, Sony as a company, though, that's still pretty much a really big deal. And yeah, I think Microsoft would definitely have to add new servers to, or excuse me, not Microsoft, Daybreak would have to add new servers to the game for like DCUO and whatnot if they want to get it on Xbox. Because like Garri said, it's just a mega server, and they're not going to have the two companies playing on.
Well,
on the same servers.
Sony's agreed to it before. Sony don't mind it. With Final Fantasy 11, Sony, when Square Enix said to Sony and Microsoft the fact that the PS2 version of Final Fantasy 11 would sit on the same servers, Sony agreed to it straight away. While Microsoft kind of was iffy for a while.
Well,
Sony doesn't mind.
I'll tell you this: the two consoles are closer together than ever. They're more similar than ever. If something like that were to go through, this would probably be the generation. If not this, then the next one. The generation to do it. And if it does, then I mean that might just change things forever.
Well, look at the fact that Xbox uses Blu-ray discs.
Absolutely.
Technically, Sony's getting some money back wherever you get Xbox sale because of the Blu-ray license.
That's true. That's absolutely
not much.
True.
It might be like 2p probably, or 5 cents. I don't know how much it is. I don't think it's much at all.
But then again, I mean, Xbox has sold at least 10 million units.
Yeah.
So 10 million times those 2 pence, or 2 pounds, excuse me.
I don't know how much it is, how much the license is, or how much Sony's. I know Sony's got a really low percentage in.
Right. But then if you say you make a $2 or £2 for each Xbox One sale, then by now 10 million sales, that's 20 million pounds or $20 million. That's amazing, Yeah.
So, for a console that you don't even own.
Exactly. The wonders of licensing fees.
Yeah.
Although
I think that the big thing to watch out for now is what happens with EverQuest Next. I mean, because they showed off a lot of very innovative features with that game. That game is pretty much a Minecraft MMO in a way. You can build stuff. You build your own castles, build your own houses, build your own towns, dig all the way to the center of the earth if you want to, but it plays like an MMO. So, it really put them back on the map when they announced that game. They showed that game off, but that game is not going to be coming out probably until 2017 at the latest. But if it ever makes it to console, that's the big one to watch out for from them.
Also, that landmark is pretty impressive as well, where you can build stuff for EverQuest Next and then sell it for real money on the market board.
Yeah, and Landmark is pretty much it's pretty much like a beta test for the building stuff, and
Well, no, I think it's going to be. It's now separate software.
Is it now? Okay.
Yeah, it's separate software where you can create your stuff in Landmark, and then either sell it online. Once it's been sort of checked over by I don't know, the top guys, I guess. And then you can sell it for how much money you want to sell it for. It costs real money. Or I think in-game currency probably as well, or you can just import into your own game.
That's pretty cool. But like I said, even with EverQuest 2, that game didn't even come close to touching what EverQuest 1 did for them. In sale, I mean, that game is still running to this day. People are still playing the original EverQuest. And that's saying a lot for that game. But
some MMOs last forever. Look at Final Fantasy 11. That's got a content patch this month.
Yeah?
Yeah. They got a new expansion pack last year.
And it's still a subscription-based MMO.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of that, Ben, why don't you go ahead and talk about that patch? You wanted to talk about that earlier.
Yeah, sure. Do you mind? Final Fantasy 14 patch that everyone's excited for. Well, anyone that plays the game will be excited for. 2.5.1.2 bajillion points is coming out this month. In fact, it's coming out February 24th. This patch will include more relic quests, so if you got your relic weapon maxed out right now, enjoy grinding to try and max out once again. And of course, there's something that everyone's more looking forward to be honest. If we're all going to be honest, we're more looking forward to this bit. The Gold Saucer from Final Fantasy VII will be returning in this patch. And I can't wait. It's going to have quite a few features like Cactpot, where you can buy lottery tickets once a week. Again, by the way, Gold Saucer is a giant amusement park. It has a lot of gambling, but it's also like mini games and fun. It's just like an actual theme park. So, Cactpot, you can buy. There's one big lottery every week that you can buy one ticket, and there's going to be a lottery every day where you can also purchase a ticket for that. But you can only have one ticket per week, so not everyone. You can't just buy all the tickets and have a ridiculous amount of chance. Everyone is limited to one ticket. You have your Chocobo Racing, where players can race their own Chocobos against other players. You can actually breed your Chocobos also to give it hidden abilities and increase stats over the other Chocobos. The parents will, pass on their genes to the children and so forth, including traits and abilities. You got the Crystal Tower Strikers, which looks like a little mini football game where you got to kick the goal into a thing. Again, I might be wrong about some of these because again the patch isn't out until February 24th. Then you got a Moogle game called Cuff a Cur, where that's like a ring toss. Again, all these will be free in the update. There will also be the Gold Saucer new fates, the Gold Saucer active time events, where certain areas will pop up, and then everyone has to rush to do like a little challenge. It might be something like jump over a certain amount of things, or musical chairs, or just little fun activities which will reward you with the amusement park currency of Hildebrand Golden points, I think it is, or Hildebrand GP. There's also Monster Toss, again a basketball game where you throw a bomb into a net, and then you get points. Of course, if you miss the throw, then of course you blow up. And there's a Moogle Paw, which is basically, if anyone's ever played those old, grabbing claw machines you find in the arcades.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be there. That'll be the Moogle Paw. And I think the biggest thing for a lot of people is the fact that they're bringing back Triple Triad, which was from Final Fantasy VIII, which is the card game. You'll be able to earn the cards by playing against NPCs, from doing events in the Gold Saucer, and from fighting in dungeons. So boss fights will also give cards. Though we don't know exactly which boss fights and which cards you'll get or how you get them, because again, it's not out yet. But yeah, so that is the thing.
All right, the thing.
There is also one more thing they announced, Ben. You
What's
might
that?
have missed it. They announced, I think it's the 750-day
Oh yeah,
membership reward,
uh,
which is the you get
cloud outfit. Yeah,
Cloud's outfit from Advent Children.
yeah,
So
which I think is pretty cool. Square Enix has a system called the Veteran Reward, where every time after a certain amount of subscription, you get a free gift based on how long you've been subscribing for. So this would be a reward for subscribing for 2 years. You get a full cloud outfit from the iconic Final Fantasy VII Advent Children movie, and that'll be free to anyone who has subscribed for that long.
All right, Final Fantasy 14 players, you heard the man. You've got some stuff coming up, so get playing. Thanks, Ben.
No problem. I hope that interests you at all. I know you don't play that game, but
No, I don't. Honestly. Actually, I've been getting back into Guild Wars 2 and ahead of that update, that expansion. And just naturally, I've been just more interested in it lately.
Well, I'm hoping that the expansion for 14 gets it out at the release date soon. I want that.
Absolutely. One more bit about PlayStation. There's going to be some rebranding going on for PlayStation services. Basically, there's going to be PlayStation Music. The whole situation with Spotify, it's that we mentioned earlier, it's actually getting a name. It's going to be called PlayStation Music. That's really interesting. I guess, PlayStation service powered by Spotify, that kind of deal. So that's interesting. It's going to show up, Music Unlimited is going to close on March 29, 2015. So look for that. There's also PlayStation Now, PlayStation View, which was announced during the holidays, I think. It's basically Sony's TV service. Now there's PlayStation Video. Video Unlimited will be PlayStation Video. PlayStation Plus, we all know what that is, and the PlayStation Store. So now PlayStation has its own network of entertainment services. Crave Online briefly questions whether or not calling everything PlayStation is a good idea, but why not? Xbox does it. There's Xbox Video and Xbox Music, and it's not a big deal. The Spotify thing surprised me because it's Spotify, another company's involved, and so I guess I'm surprised that Spotify was okay with being called PlayStation Music. So I don't know the details of that, but it's definitely a more unified package of entertainment services under PlayStation's name, and with PlayStation's branding. So, interesting stuff. Not very consequential, but do you guys have any comments?
Spotify. It probably the talk with Sony and Spotify it probably went a bit like this. We want you on our PlayStation. It'll be on 19 million consoles worldwide. It will also be is it on PS3 as well?
I don't know. Probably, because Music Unlimited was on PS3.
Well, then it's also on 18 million consoles worldwide. The only thing we want to do is we want to give you a sack full of money, and we want to put the name PlayStation on the front of it. But you get all the money and you get all the revenue, and we pay you money for having it. So Spotify probably think, "Oh, we're gonna get money. Oh, money."
Yeah, that is good for Spotify. Let's be absolutely clear. This is good for Spotify because this is exposure. This is a big reason for people to sign up for Spotify subscriptions, whereas they might have been subscribing to Music Unlimited just for the ability to play play music with their games. So that's big. That's big. For Spotify.
By having the PlayStation brand as well. I know it's not a big brand, but it's still pretty big.
Garri's
There's
phone.
a special guest.
Garri's phone. Of course, it made an appearance.
Oh yeah, it's the new music of Spotify.
I'm not subscribing anymore. No, I'm kidding. By the way, a lot of people don't know this. If you're a college student, or if you're not, but you have a .edu email address, you can get Spotify Premium for half off. So $5 a month instead of $10 a month. That's in the US. I don't know about the UK or anywhere else. So there's that. Sorry, Ben, I cut you off. What were you saying?
No, I wasn't going to say anything. I was just saying, but yours for only $9.99 a month. You too can listen to Garri's phone anywhere at any time.
I lied, by the way.
$9.99. That's too high.
I lied. There is one more bit of PlayStation news. This comes from Japan, where someone bought a 20th anniversary PlayStation 4 for $130,000.
If I had the money, I would.
It wasn't just any 20th anniversary PlayStation 4. It was the one branded 00001. And apparently that makes it worth 130 grand. That in yen, by the way, that's 15,135,000 yen. So, oh my goodness. The good news is that Sony's going to be donating that money to Save the Children Japan. And I don't know what Save the Children Japan does, but I'm really happy, especially for Sony, who does need the money. $130,000 is a drop in the bucket, quite frankly, but I'm really happy to hear that they're donating all of that to a charity. But the normal price is $399. Okay, $399, 130 grand for this thing. Oh my goodness! And you know what? The person who bought it, like, I wouldn't be surprised if he turned around and tried to sell it for more than that either. I mean, that's just ridiculous. That's
in my opinion, it's still a better deal than buying a freaking Nintendo World Championship cart.
Oh, what? What was that about?
You know, well, this is 130 grand, sorry, but the Nintendo World Championship cart sells for 50 grand. And all it is a demo of Mario, a demo of Tetris, and a demo of Ridge Racer.
Why? Why is that so... Who would pay 50 grand for that?
It goes up from 50 to 100 grand, depending on... Only a certain amount I think it's 26 gold carts were made.
Guys, believe me, there are better things to spend your money on than this crap.
Not if you're a collector.
No, I know Pat the NES Punk has a gold cart and a grey cart. The grey cart sells for about 3 grand, I think, or 4 grand, something like that.
Wow, that's just amazing.
I know the most expensive thing is like this. I think there's something that sells for about 100 grand. And it's even worse than that.
You can buy a house. You can buy a house for that money.
You could buy a game for that money as well. Depends on what you want to do with that money.
You could buy a game. You could buy you could make your own indie studio and self-publish. Like, well, I don't know about that. That might be pushing.
Well, you could. Yeah, you could easily do that.
You can easily do that. Yeah. Okay.
Depends on what you want to make, of course.
$130,000, and the fact I'm also surprised that he just had 130 grand just laying around to spend on a video game console. Like, oh my goodness!
You gotta imagine. You gotta think about how rich some people are.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, if I had the money, if I had won the lottery, you know what? I'd do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'd buy it. If I had won the lottery, the first thing I'd buy is a PSX. I've always wanted one. They sell for about $1,000, I think it is.
The first thing I would buy is freedom from debt.
Agreed.
And then the first thing I'd buy is freedom from debt from Garri and Glenn.
Yay.
Oh,
I'm not in debt, so I don't need to.
I feel better. I feel happy. Now
Except for college debt. Yeah, student loans, but...
Yeah, but like...
Nobody really ever pays those.
Credit debt and stuff like that. Small things. All right, so let's talk Nintendo finally. Nothing really from Xbox, which is interesting. But
there is one thing from Xbox.
What's up?
This was during their big announcements they made, Windows 10 and DirectX 12.
Mm-hmm.
Phil Spencer went on Twitter and reconfirmed to everybody that DirectX 12 is not going to have a big impact on the Xbox One that everybody thinks it's going to have.
Yeah, I don't really know why it would.
Yeah, because a lot of people were like, oh, DirectX 12 is going to be huge for Xbox One, and he did it 3 times because apparently people didn't understand him the first 2 times he said it.
Mm-hmm.
So on the 3rd time, he just straight up said in those words, it's not going to have a big impact on the Xbox One.
I don't see why. Like, there's been a lot of back and forth about it. A couple articles. I think I said that episode that they knew about the DirectX 12 when they made the Xbox One or something like that. But really, I don't understand why it would, because DirectX 12 is graphics software. And there's all sorts of graphics software out there. So there's all sorts of graphics engines. You know, DirectX 12 is just one of many. So I mean, and I don't think it usually even. I mean, do a lot of the Xbox games even use DirectX 12, or do they tend to use other?
DirectX is the basic
It's the
API,
basic.
sorry.
Okay,
So
so
all engines will use DirectX commands pretty much.
yeah, so I'm kind of surprised as to why everyone, I guess, assumed, oh, DirectX 12 is coming, and suddenly Xbox is going to be incredible. I mean,
Yeah,
Xbox is a great
it
system,
would
but
it would have had to be built to support DirectX 12,
right.
and I don't think when they were building it, they were in any way, shape, or form ready to know exactly what the final stats for it are going to be.
Right. So perhaps when the halfway version of the Xbox One comes out.
No, because then it'll have a then that would have an advantage over the ones that got earlier on in gen.
I really hope that when the halfway version comes out, they call it Xbox 1.5.
Oh, there is breaking news right now. Netflix apparently believes that the next Xbox One and PS4, the slim versions, I guess we can call them,
Mm-hmm.
will launch with the ability to run 4K resolution natively.
Oh, good. Good.
That'd be good.
I would expect that because those probably won't come out for another few years. I'd imagine.
I'd expect PS4 Slim by next year.
No, not by next year. For another, I'd say they come out in 13, probably 17, 18. I know.
No, it won't be that late. PS3 Slim was about 2.5 years. PS2 Slim was about 2.5 years. So you're probably looking at end of 2015, early 2016, probably.
No. I think it'll be later than that. I think it'll definitely be later than that.
I think it'll be
Especially
2016. I think they'll announce it in 2015 and it'll come out in 2016.
No, I think they'll announce it in 2016. Personally, I don't see it coming out this year in any form, in any announcement at all.
well, with the new RAM chips by Samsung, allowing Sony to make it smaller, and then they've also had a die decrease recently with the actual graphics card and the APU. There's nothing stopping it from being released.
Right.
Being announced and released next year, really, because especially the RAM. The RAM is what takes a lot of space because currently there is, I think it's 16, 16 RAM chips in the PS4. Each one being 512 megabytes of GDR5. That's what makes the 8 gigabytes. Those chips put together.
It's interesting that they did it like that, actually.
Well, it's cheaper. 1 gigabyte chips aren't used often, but Samsung has recently made a cheaper, easier to produce 1 gigabyte RAM chip. So that's going to cut down the space in half as well.
Okay.
Well, it doesn't take much space to have the RAM anyway, but it's still going to be a lot of space. And because they're smaller and because the die chip's smaller, I know it sounds weird, but the smaller a chip is, the less heat it produces. You'd think it'd be the other way around. No, the smaller chip, less heat, so you need a smaller fan and a smaller heatsink, which would help with the decrease in size.
Okay.
So I can see one being done by early next year with a price drop.
With the price, well, I am going to stick by it and say it'll probably be announced next year, 2016. I will stick to my guns, Ben. My guns. I'm sticking to them. But I don't know. But Ben, Garri, did you comment on this already? Yes, you did. You announced it. Actually, there was something else you wanted to announce with Nintendo. What was that?
I think we lost Garri.
I think we did. So I guess I will talk about what he was talking about. By the way, that
Garriception.
that little bit about, hey, what was that? Yeah, I already know what it is. I'm just trying to be friendly. Club Nintendo released its final rewards catalog ever. And you should check it out. It's on Nintendo's website, club.nintendo.com, excuse me. And you get all sorts of stuff. You get a grill-off thing with Ultra Hand, Mario and Luigi greeting cards, playing cards, a 3DS XL pouch. Goodness, the maximum price of anything there is 800 coins, and they've got a messenger bag. They've got all sorts of stuff. Oh, Gary's back. Okay, Gary, you continue talking about this Club Nintendo thing.
Oh yeah, Club Nintendo is shutting down on June 20th. Right as it shuts down, they'll launch their new rewards program. There's no information about what it is or how it's going to work yet, but yeah, they have over 100 and actually they have 118 games total that you can grab right now. This is going to be all the games available up until June 20th. They have 12 physical items. Probably the biggest one is the Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask duffel bag, I believe it is.
It's a messenger bag. That's what I was looking at.
Yeah, messenger bag. Yeah, 850 coins seems to be the most expensive thing they have. That's the Wii Party U. I have no idea what that is. But I think it's a physical? No, it's a Wii U game, I believe it is. But yeah, they have a lot of stuff. They have F-Zero for the Wii U. They have a lot of old downloadable games like Link to the Past, Legend of Zelda Link to the Past, Adventures of Link. But they also have some heavy-duty games like Punch-Out is on there. The remade Punch-Out that they released. They have The Wonderful 101, which is a great little superhero-like game that I believe was created by Platinum Games, I think it was. They have that game for about 600 coins. They have Majora's Mask, Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, the 64 Virtual Console version for 250 coins. That's fantastic. You know, Mario Kart 64, Super Mario 64. I believe Smash Brothers is on there, the original Smash Brothers.
Star Fox 64 3D is there.
Yes.
Kid Icarus Uprising.
The Super Mario 3D Land is on there. Donkey Kong Country Returns. So they have a lot of games, 118 games. I don't think we're going to go through all of them. Unless Glenn wants to go ahead and read them all.
No, I don't. I'm good.
Yeah, but they're all spread out from Virtual Console, Wii U, Wii, and the 3DS. So they did say that these games will not be available. Well, there's limited supply. Well, not limited supply. While supplies last. So some of these games, if they go, they go. I don't know if they run out of codes or something like that. But get them while you can. You can't right now because the site is down. Well, it's down right now. But
what, ClubNintendo.com?
Club Nintendo is down right now, yes.
No, I was just on that website.
Really? Yep. It says it's down for maintenance for me.
It lies. Club.nintendo.com. Oh, what do you know? In the time from... yeah, now it's down. Sure enough. Okay, I was just there, so that's interesting.
Yeah, it seems to be going up and down. I think it's just too much traffic right now, people trying to get the games.
An unorganized DDoS attack. It's just people trying to purchase stuff.
Right, yeah, exactly.
But yeah, there's a lot of games. Check it out. Get them while you can. I mean, 250 coins is like 2 games, I think. If you bought 2 brand new games, you'll have that many coins. So I think it's a great deal for some of these games. Some of them are really, who cares, but some of them are pretty good.
I lose all my coins. By the time I realize I can spend the coins, they run out of time and become unusable.
So it goes. Yeah, I think I'm the same way with Nintendo anyway. Guys, this has been episode 4. It's been a good episode. We've gone on longer than intended, but that's okay. I have some really great news for 4Gamers only. We are on Stitcher. That's right, we've made it to the big time. Stitcher, if you don't know what it is a great place. I know you love podcasts because you're listening to us ramble on for an hour and 45 minutes. If you love podcasts, go to Stitcher.com. They have all sorts of amazing podcasts about all sorts of things. This American Life is one of my favorite podcasts. It's huge too. Serial is on there. Snap Judgment's on there from NPR. All sorts of podcasts on there, and now we are on there with them. Go to Stitcher.com, search for 4Gamers Only. We need 5 reviews to make it to Stitcher's ranked lists. So if you can go on there, just send us a review. We'd really appreciate it. We're going to post our link to Stitcher on Twitter and on N4G and a couple other places. So support the show and check us out on Stitcher. We are also on iTunes. Subscribe to us there. iTunes is... a lot of people use iTunes. We're also on all sorts of different podcast outlets. I use Overcast to listen to podcasts. I use it since one of our listeners actually asked me about Overcast. I checked it out. Now I use it. It's great software. It's a great app, I should say. So wherever you get your podcasts, we are there. Check us out. And that's that. Follow us on Twitter at 4G only, at number 4, letter GONLY. And you can send us an email at 4gocast@gmail.com. Ben, how can people contact you?
You can contact me at ben.shouldabearhall@psu.com, Chili_UK on Twitter, Chili on PSN, Chili on NeoGAF, Chili on pretty much every other website ever created. You can also contact me at I'veBeenTaken@hotmail.com. That's my personal email address. Yeah, those are my ways you can stalk me.
All right, and Garri?
You can contact me on Twitter at Gaglaush. That's GAGLAUSH. You can also contact me at my personal email, also gaglaush at gmail.com.
All right.
And Gaglaush on anything else that you can think of. Just search my name and see if I'm on there.
And you can contact me on Twitter at Goglen_, at GOGLENN_. I will not be giving my personal email because I used to give out my PSU email when I was working with PSU. I'm taking a break from PSU, by the way. When I was working with PSU, I'd give my my PSU email on RDGH and here, and that email started getting spam. So I am no longer doing that. You can, if you want to, you can contact me just through 4gocast@gmail.com. You can find me on Xbox. You can find me on PlayStation. You can find me on League of Legends, Guild Wars 2, all sorts of things. Send me an email and tell me what you want to play, and I will give you my information. Guys, our music, that's right, our intro music this time was called Charge Towards the Sunset of Intergalactic Dictatorship.
That sounds amazing.
That's a catchy name. It's a remix coming from Mega Man 10 or Mega Man X, whichever. It was made by Heaven Wraith, who also goes by Anthony Politis. I'm assuming that Anthony Politis is his name in the real world. Unless his real name is Heaven Wraith. That would be kind of interesting. So thank you to OC Remix for that one. And also our outro is not from OC Remix. It is from YouTube. It is the Goat Simulator song remix. We've used it a couple times on RDGH. And in honor of Ben, who I know is going to give us a new nickname quite shortly, we're gonna play it for you. We might as well just play the whole thing here. Well, I'll decide by the time I edit this whether or not to play the whole thing because we've played it before. It was made on YouTube by Nicholas Basuel, Basuel. Check his channel out. I think the story behind it was PewDiePie was playing Goat Simulator, and while he was derping around on Goat Simulator, he started saying stuff, and this guy turned it into a song. The song's actually pretty catchy. I don't know about PewDiePie, you know, PewDiePie's good at what he does, but, I mean, the voice in the song is weird for me. But the song is amazing, and you will hear that shortly if you are not hearing it already. Guys, that's it for episode 4 of 4 Gamers Only. Tune in next week for another great episode hosted by Garri. This is the first time he's hearing about it, so we're going to have that conversation. So until then, guys, have a great week, and we will see you. We are not 4 Gamers Only. What are we, Ben?
We're 4 goats on time.
What?
I'll see you next week, guys.
Ain't got no